Hey, welcome to another episode of the Between Podcast. It's me, your host, Matt Matson. This is an episode that's in a series of episodes. This whole season, season 3 of the Between Podcast, is Danny Hillier, Reverend Danny Hillier, and I exploring these profound faith questions. And today we're tackling a question about love. What is love? Is it the stuff in the Hallmark holiday movies? Is it this surface level thing? Is it something deeper? Can it be embodied? We explore a wide range of stuff related to the idea of love. And well, we just kind of jumped into the episode, so I thought I'd record a little buffer before we get in and welcome you into this episode. Hey, it's the holiday season as these come out, and you could listen to them any time of year, obviously. But no matter when you're listening to them, I hope that you are experiencing around you something sacred. And I hope that you're finding moments to have sacred encounters in your life. Listen, my biggest advice, my biggest recommendation, my biggest request, my biggest prayer right now is that you will listen to these episodes, engage with Between content, and go out into the world and create sacred encounters. Invite somebody to coffee, take a walk with somebody, take a hike with somebody, sit down over a nice cold beer with somebody, invite somebody over to your house for tea and crumpets. I don't know what people do, but if you do any of those things or any other way that you might be able to have a sacred encounter, maybe host a podcast, because that's what Danny and I are doing. We're having sacred encounters with each other. And I really want that for you. The space between us is truly sacred, and what a gift it is that we get to talk about this together and then send you out, send myself out, send everybody we encounter out into the world to create more moments of sacred human connection. That's the vision of Between, that we will fill the world with sacred moments of human connection, sacred encounters, sacred interactions, and help to heal our lonely, disconnected, divided world, one sacred conversation at a time. Enjoy this episode. Thanks for joining the Between Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Between Podcast. This, friends, is the love episode where we talk about love. Danny, I've been watching a lot of Hallmark holiday movies. That's a lie. I have not been watching a lot of Hallmark holiday movies.
Don't lie, Matt.
My
Don't
children
lie.
would like it if I would say yes and turn on the Hallmark holiday movies, but I'm grumpy and I say, nope, I don't want to watch that crap. Is love, we're going to talk about love, Danny. We're going to talk, like, love is all around us. Love, actually, like, love is everywhere right now this time of year. Danny, this episode will come out in the days just before the big Christmas holiday of 2025. That's when this episode is scheduled to come out, and we're going to talk about love. It's everywhere. It's all around us. It's beautiful and perfect and everywhere. And is love actually the nonsense that it looks like in the Hallmark movies, where the person goes back to their small town and the lumberjack man and comes out, who works at the local tree farm.
I just watched that episode.
Oh, really? You saw that one? It's a good one. It's a good one. Have you seen the one with the prince and the regular person, the prince and the regular lady, who, turns out they're prince, like, Christmas princess or Christmas prince, both of those, the sequel. I don't know. Is any of that stuff real? Like, is that relevant, or is that just to sell greeting cards and more merchandise or whatever people are advertising on the Hallmark channel?
We are infatuated with love. We are infatuated with these love stories. They draw us in. We know the ending. My favorite thing about starting, my husband laughs every time. My favorite thing about starting a Hallmark movie is I know the ending. Yeah. I predict every time. You're like, I know exactly what this is.
Wow.
But
Danny,
we love it.
That's a big deal. They should study you for science. That is fascinating. How do you know? How do you know?
I know. I just have this prophetic gift I've been given. But it's like, we watch the same storylines, the same plots, and we are infatuated with these love stories. Or what I've also come to observe about our culture and our human minds is we're either infatuated with love or true crime. Like polar opposites. You go onto Netflix and it is all like love and holiday, or it's murder,
Murder.
mystery, true crime. Like that is what our minds want, both of those. And so I think the love that we are entertained by is not the love we're talking about this Advent season.
Wow. Okay. Okay. The love we're entertained by is not the love we're talking about this Advent season. So, is the Advent season, is Christmas about love? I mean, I feel like that's the like, I don't know, the thing you tell your grandma, like, oh, Christmas, the point of Christmas isn't presents, grandma. That's okay. I like the sweater, but that's not the point. The point is love, grandma. And shout out to my grandmas, by the way. I got two living grandmas who are incredible, who never get me lame sweaters. And I appreciate that from both of them. But is that it? I mean, is that the point of Christmas? Is that what that's what you're trying to tell me? This season, the story, the Christmas story is about love, but it's somehow different than the lumberjack man and the busy professional woman back in her hometown.
Let's jump right into the question. Jesus's birth. Matt, why? This is a personal theological question. Why was Jesus born?
Are you asking me why was Jesus born, Danny? That's a little heavy. First of all, it feels attacking.
I
It
should
doesn't
have
feel
let
like
you
love.
know. I
Doesn't feel
should
like
have
love.
let you know that I was going to ask this question.
Why was Jesus born? Oh, let's get into it. For real, Danny, you want to know my answer to that
I
question?
want to know your answer.
My answer to that question is because somehow Mary got pregnant, and I don't know the other half of that story. I know the way it's written, but Jesus was born as a continuation of the life of these people, and became a symbol of the lives of all of us.
Mm,
And that is not shortchanging the enchantedness of the gospel. That is me naming something I find deeply incredible, that a regular baby, a regular kid, a local kid from the small town that you grew up in, that kid, born to a regular mom and a complicated situationship, and a complex family dynamic in the midst of a political chaos with an oppressive regime threatening to like be horribly violent to families all around. In the midst of all of that, these regular folks became the symbol of of everything we hope for, of all the joy we can imagine. And Danny became the symbol of absolute love, in all their humanity, all their regularness, all their brokenness, all their flaws. Somehow became the centerpiece of a story that is for everyone and that embraces everyone, and that says that we are all beloved by something that we cannot possibly understand. And so, to make it make a little bit more sense, let's have it show up in the form of a baby. Let's have
mhm.
it show up in the form of a regular family that is complicated and messy in a difficult time, so that we can always all relate to it.
Mm, great answer, Matt.
Was it? I don't know. I should
I
have written that
know
down.
you summarized. I mean, the entire Christmas story. I've been thinking about this so much because Advent is the same season every year. Christmas is the same holiday every single year. It's the same Christmas story. In fact, as a pastor, my two least favorite days to preach are Christmas Eve and Easter.
And Easter, yeah.
Because here's the truth, you can only have so much creativity, but the people who are coming in the pews, they want that same Hallmark ending. They
Yeah.
want the same story they've heard for generations and generations and generations. Because and this isn't a hit at anybody. It's because they need that reminder. They need that grounding and centering of the purpose of it all. Like, What's all this all about? Why are we making so many gingerbread houses? Why are there so many ornaments? Why are there so many Hallmark movies? And then you come to a Christmas Eve service in the Christian tradition and you hear the same exact story, and it connects it all back to that line you said, "You are beloved." End of story. Like the rest of this is nice and feels good, but the truth is, you ordinary, messy human being, you are deeply loved. You are beloved. You are an embodiment of love. And you get to be a part of this entire manuscript that is a love story of humanity.
Wow. Okay, so my head is in two different directions right now, Danny. Number one, it's the embodiment of love, the idea that Jesus in these stories represents this incredible divine love, this endless, boundless love, uh, in the shape of a human. It's just embodied love, embodied pure love, embodied, uh, and that is such a powerful image in itself. But I'm also struck by like you talked about the manuscript, the longer story, like all this whole long story. I I recently was writing about Genesis. I kind of reread all of Genesis, and the thing that I wrote was like maybe the point of Genesis is that families are really complicated. Maybe the whole point of Genesis is like we're all just kind of messed up to each other, especially the people we love the most, starting from God and Adam and Eve and that relationship, which if you look at it through a certain lens, you're like, what the heck is going on here? It's kind of messed up or weird. And then all these other broken family dynamics. The whole story, the whole book of Genesis is like broken family, broken trust, broken families, sad person, broken family. Like it's that's
Sad
the whole
person.
story. Yeah.
That poor sad person.
And so but 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 like it's Genesis. It's the first book of the Bible that people have been studying for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. That tells us something, that maybe the love that is in there, the love that is in the seams of all the messed up family dynamics is it. Like that's it. What is love embodying? Embodied love is the sorrow or pain that we feel in the broken promise from a family member, or the broken relationship because the relationship was there. Love is the thing that feels disconnected. Love is the thing that feels lost. Anyway, both of those things feel like embodiments of love to me, I guess is my point. Strange, complicated family dynamics, relationship dynamics that all of us have. We know that relationships are hard, and the people we love the most, it's hard. It's hard. And this idea that Jesus is the embodiment of this incredible, profound, divine love, all in human shape, in Jesus shape. Those are maybe two different ways that I'm unpacking this idea of love embodied.
Hmm. Because love is messy. That's like the whole story of Genesis. Even the birth of Jesus, right, is the messiest. Like Mary, her odd relationship with this man Joseph, and the people in her community and the people outside the community who are angry, the oppression, like everything about all of these stories of family dynamics, relationships is just messy. And yet, in the midst of it, it's the love embodiment. And so there's this example we've been given that amidst the mess, amidst this what the heck is going on, you and I are called to be embodiments of love, even in the middle of the mess. And my God, that's hard.
Yeah. Well, Danny, that we are called to be embodiments of love even in the middle of the mess, like in our regular life. Danny, that you just said this. In our regular life, the invitation is that in the middle of our messy community, our messy neighborhood, in the middle of our messy nation, our messy international situation, in the middle of all that, we're invited to be one thing: the embodiment of love, to show up as love, not with a little bit of love or accessing love every once in a while after the sarcastic comment and the mean tweet and the angry rant, but like embody it, like allow love to seep through every single pore, every atom of your body. Allow love to fill it, uh, and show up that way. That's a real hard invitation. Is that what does that look like? I mean, in real life, Danny, what does that look like? How do people do it?
My first response is just presence, mostly because I think we can try too hard to show up as love. And I'm like a real good bullshit radar, you know? Like I don't know about like when people show up and it's like, oh my God, it's like, sometimes it feels too ingenuine, right? Like being your authentic self sometimes means just being there. Sometimes just means showing up. Sometimes means showing up, grumpy or way or we, but like I'm here because I love you. I'm here because like you matter and this is all messy, but I love you so much kind of thing. Uh but as our culture and society is showing us like you must show up so loving and embrace and this time of the year specifically with Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of the holiday get-togethers, we're surrounded by people that we love and even the people we love that are really hard to love. And I think we often think we have to show up as versions of ourselves to make it feel like love rather than just being like I'm here, you're here, there's love here, but it doesn't have to make us feel warm and cozy and comfortable by any means. But love is simply here in our presence.
Well, that's okay. So unpack. It doesn't have to make you feel comfortable by any means. You just said that's actually helpful, but hard to fit in the love shaped puzzle piece in my mind, right? The one that's made from Hallmark movies
Because
and
it's been shaped by Hallmark.
right, right. So love doesn't have to be comfortable. Uh, I need help with that. I need help understanding that more.
Okay, I'm going to give an example. I did a memorial service a few weeks back, and it was for this beloved family. These two, it was for the mother, wife figure. Uh, the husband was still living. They had been married 75 years.
Wow.
Whoa. And they had this family and, great, wonderful family, so dysfunctional. Like, and yet in the middle of the dysfunction, me being the officiant of the memorial service and pastoral and trying to balance all of these emotions and the tensions that were not only visible but verbal within the family dynamic, right? I'm like, whoa, this is messy. And they loved each other beyond measure. So it wasn't a comfortable love that this family was showing. It was a diverse side of love that there's all kinds of personalities and quirkiness and uniqueness that comes to the table that really disagree with each other, that really don't see eye to eye, that are really from different sides of the aisle, sides of the story. But there's still somehow, and I'm still trying to name it, this love that is woven through their DNA and woven through who they are that keeps them connected because they weren't estranged family members. They were just dysfunctional, which I honestly don't know there is a functional family in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't help but feel like love isn't always polished is a phrase that popped into my head as you were talking about some of the diverse ways in which love expressed itself in that family. And love is not always polished. Love is sometimes just a scratched up, bumpy, rough rock that is pulled, covered in dirt from the earth. Um, but underneath it, right? Like underneath it, it's the same beautiful diamond that is on the Hallmark movies, or that we're trying to connect with, right? Like that's inside all of it. Is this something something really something really solid? Something really solid is underneath the bumpy, rough, you know, scratchy parts on the outside. I wonder if that's a love is solid is an interesting is another interesting way for me to think about it. Um, you know, when Jesus shows up as love, like love in that moment, societally, you know, there's these prophecies of you know being saved, of these prophecies of salvation, these prophecies of you know the tyrant kings will be overturned, and the white knight horse, you know the white knight on the horse will ride in and defeat. And then what happens is not that; it's a baby is born, and and it's like yeah, it's not a story. It's not a the Hallmark movies are a story. The Hallmark movies are this fairy tale. The White Knight riding in and defeating the evil king is the fairy tale. What's solid, what's real, is human life. What's solid, what's real, is a regular family in a regular town uh, being present and showing up and have and existing like that is that's love. Love is solid.
Hmm. Love is solid. Jesus showed us, you give like these little examples right there, and Jesus showed us what love looks like for all people in like the most, you know, bizarre ways, especially for that culture and the time that Jesus walked the earth, the things that he did to show love to people, to be that embodiment, to go out to the well in the middle of the day when he knew a particular woman would be at that well at that time of the day when no one else was getting water. And he shows up just as himself. I love his little like sarcastic moments too of like, where's your husband? Like, and
I
she
like
knows.
in that story in the woman at the well story, like it starts with Jesus being really thirsty, like human thirsty, and
Hmm.
collapsing at the well in thirst. Like shows up there with real human need, like just literally, I just need a drink of water.
Hmm.
The humanity in that is one of my favorite parts of that story.
Right? And then the way he fully shows up as his human self, like thirsty. Like, can you imagine just being like this woman at the well, right? And this man comes, he's like, "Oh, hey God, give me a drink of water." Like, so human, so messy, and then also turns this story into a narrative of love and presence. Of like, I see you, I know what's going on here, and just so you know, you're loved. Like end of like that's the end of the story, right? And then the community erupts like, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. It's like that's what love is. Love is doing all these, oh, can't believe you just said that, can't believe you just did that. Because Jesus constantly, this physical embodiment of love constantly stood up for the marginalized, constantly stood up against the powers in place, stood up for the oppressed and the silence. Specifically, a lot of his ministry was around women and reminding women of their physical embodiment of love, because that culture in the time was trying to silence and diminish the roles of women, uh, and people with disability. Like there's so much love shown throughout all of Jesus's ministry that are countercultural to the ancient Near East. And as people that, follow these teachings by Jesus, we cling to, oh, that's what it means to show up as love. It's not, this beautiful little package for the people that we like most, and only keep it within your square, your home, your table. It's this open invitation to get nitty gritty and messy with the least favorite of society.
Can I tell you a story of when I recently saw somebody embodying love? And I wrote about this, and I think it'll turn into a sermon here in the next couple months. So if you're listening to this, this may come back up again in upcoming between content. But I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-through the other day, Danny. I was waiting in line in the Chick-fil-A drive-through. This is not a commentary on Chick-fil-A's politics or what they fund or whether it was just my kids wanted Chick-fil-A. So I went to the Chick-fil-A drive-through, and I'm sitting there, my window's down, and this young man takes my order. I'm like, actually, he didn't take my order because I ordered on mobile. I was like, I have a mobile order for Megan because it's my wife's app, actually. So anyway, that's what I said to him. And he's like, "You got it. All right, okay, here you go." And I'm like, "Thanks." And he's like, "You're welcome." And I drive forward a little bit, and I overhear one of his coworkers, this young woman, this teenage girl, like, up a few cars, but she kind of turns to him, is like coworkers just talking to each other, and she goes, "Hey, something seems off. Are you sure you're okay?" That's what she said. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then I had to drive up, and I didn't hear anything else. But I loved that. I loved getting to observe that two teenage kids doing their after school job at Chick-fil-A, standing outside in their little red uniforms, being real polite to everybody. And she asks, "Something seems off. Are you sure you're okay?" Which told me a couple things. First of all, she's paying attention to this kid. I don't know why. Like, they're probably just friends, just coworkers. Maybe there's budding romance there, but I wasn't going to put a story into that. I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. But then she said, "Are you sure you're okay?" Which means she'd already asked him once, right? She'd already inquired about this at least once, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Well, I noticed. I mean, he didn't. I said thanks, and he said, "You're welcome," which is something's got to be wrong. A Chick-fil-A employee does not say "my pleasure" in that encounter. Like, something must be wrong with this kid. This girl is really observant. She noticed he didn't say "my pleasure." But I just keep thinking about how sweet of a little moment that is, no matter the story surrounding it. The fact that um, she looked again. Like, people look at us all day long. They see us, right? They notice us. They say, "Hi, how are you?" But then every once in a while, somebody in your day looks again and is like, "Hey, actually, I notice you don't like that smile doesn't seem right." Or, "Hey, I notice you seem to be carrying something heavy." Or, "I notice you've got this red sweater on that you didn't have on in the last episode that we recorded, Danny, even though we recorded it on the same day." Yeah, I just gave you away. I didn't get to change my shirt, Danny. I noticed. I looked again. Here's my point. This kid, this teenage girl, like, looks again. And like, if that's not love embodied, I don't know what is. It is so simple. You said early, like, just being present. And she wasn't like trying too hard. She wasn't like, brother in Christ, my Chick-fil-A coworker, beloved, you know, come pray with me. That's not what she said. She was like, "You seem off, man. Are you sure you're okay?" Like, what? That right there. Maybe that's it. Look again. Look again at the people in your life who pass by you and sort of seem like silhouettes or shapes, just passing
Mhm.
you by. Look again, see their wholeness, see their complexity, see their holiness. I think that maybe that's what love looks like in practice. I liked that I learned that from a, you know, 14-year-old kid working the Chick-fil-A drive-through line.
Hmm. I have so much admiration and hope in this next generation, this generation of they've tapped into something that I've observed, of a deep concern about the other, a deep concern about other people around them, regardless of who those other people are, what those other people believe in, what they look like, where they come from. But I've observed this deep concern, and I want other generations, including my own, to observe and absorb that same deep concern, because that's what love, the love is the deep concern, knowing that, you know, I'm wrapped up in you and we're wrapped up in each other. And if I'm not okay, then you're not okay. If they're not okay, then we're not okay. The only way we can all be okay is when we are deeply concerned for the well-being of all people.
Wow. Danny, I can't help but think about there are smarter, uh, you know, social scientists who study generational shifts and trends, but I can't help but think about these teenage kids who grew up in their most formative years during COVID while their millennial and Gen X parents were hoarding, you know, chicken breasts and toilet paper
Toilet
from the
paper.
grocery store, like we were worrying about ourselves. We're like in protection mode. Their innocent little eyes were looking out into the world and being like, they know disconnection. They know disconnection as a central, um, like default state. They're a large part of the heart of their childhood was disconnection all
Mm,
around them. And we all were like responding fearfully and you know, sort of reflexively and protecting. And they maybe, you know, when they were in fifth, sixth, seventh grade, you know, that age range kid during COVID, maybe younger than elementary school, there that was they were looking out into the world and feeling the depth of disconnection and gaining an innate sense of concern, care and concern for the people out there that they can't reach. We took it for granted. We knew we could reach those people. We'd spend our whole life, but they had in their most formative moments, they're disconnected. Like that. That to me feels like it is a profound sense of understanding of what love embodied might really feel like because they felt it. They felt the absence of it. They felt
mm, mm,
um, they felt a world that was rapidly love was rapidly, you know, sort of shattering all around them. um, I don't know. You got me thinking about that. I've got hope for you're right, the teenage kids that I interact with, not all of them, but a lot of teenage kids I interact with, mine of course, but also, you know, not all of them, but a lot of them that I interact with are so attuned to other people's
mm,
experiences, so deeply connected to understanding what's going on in other people's lives and seeing below the surface. You and I grew up in generations of surface, being really good at looking at the surface and click
mhm,
your generation clicked like on the surface a lot. And you know, my generation was just like we were just angry at everything. Gen Xers were just like rebelling at everything. It was very self-centered in a different way. And I just think about these kids, these uh, Gen Z, Gen Alpha kids. Maybe they're going to see people differently. They will know the embodiment of love at a visceral level.
because during the pandemic, we witnessed love become a scarce resource. We physically witnessed all of a sudden that people, rather than sharing, rather than opening their arms, closed our doors, kept our distance. Granted, a lot of this was mandated and pushed on us, but and it, this fear started to fester within all of us, that then love became, it was no longer our default setting. Love became this scarce resource that I have to try too hard for because they disagree with me and they're angry and I can't stand them and they took the last chicken breast and the last roll of toilet paper and I hate them. Uh, Hate then took center stage. And I think we still see that ripple effect in our world, like at a global level, where hate still gets the most attention and still gets the most clicks on the article or the most tuned in for the media headline if it's centered around hate versus if it's magnifying this love.
Love embodied is I'm trying to ask myself as I walk into my tomorrow and I interact with whoever I interact with in the next week, what does it mean for me to embody love? Like
Mm-hmm.
actually, I think your point about presence, authentic presence, is really well taken. I think to me, the teenage kid in the Chick-fil-A line, her noticing, taking that second look, like that is love embodied. I think about the stories of Jesus's life. If we look at the stories of Jesus's life as examples of love embodied, notice how I, I'm I'm the first one to notice how they're not all perfect. They're not all polished to the point that you made earlier. Like love is uh, love is solid. Love is underneath all those things. And when we try to express it, when we try to embody it, when we try to make our body out of it, it doesn't always work perfectly because, gosh, to the other great point you made, we've we've got so many things around us, from Hallmark movies to global pandemics to fear mongering news media to all these other things, training us every single day to not embody love, but instead to embody fear or to embody hate. And if that's what we've been practicing, unbeknownst to ourselves, for decades of our lives, it's no surprise that when we try to embody love fully, it can be a little awkward sometimes. It can be a little, we can trip over ourselves every once in a while. We can be a little too sappy. We can be a little too, uh, it can come off wrong. Of course, because our body has been trained, our life has been trained in so many ways to be not loving, but instead to be fearful and to be hateful. That to me is those are heavy, important bullet points from our conversation as I think about how do I walk into tomorrow? What do I want to give myself and other people permission to do with this idea of embodying love? I'm curious, as you think about the way you take it into your tomorrow, into your work, into your life, into your parenting with your kids and your partnership with your husband, like what do you how do you embody love in those ways?
Mm. I'm gonna start with this one thought that I was having while you were sharing is that I keep going back to that love is not a feeling and love is not an action, but love is this embodiment. However, when we embody love, the consequences of that are love in action and feeling of love, right? Like I keep thinking about that cycle of like, it's not those two things, but if we embody it, we will feel love and we will practice love in our everyday lives. Now, when I think about loving people going into my tomorrow, obviously I surround myself with people I love a lot. And in my position as well as a pastor, honestly, not even just as a pastor, as a member of society, as a community member in this neighborhood that I'm looking out the window right now, right? Like there are people I do not think I love, nor do I feel love for them. But how do I show up as love? And truth be told, sometimes maybe showing up as love is not yelling at them. Maybe showing up as love is not causing harm to them in any shape or form. And and that might not sound like love, but some of the thoughts that I have about people that I really struggle to love, those are the two things I can do to be a physical embodiment of love.
Danny's point, everybody. Reverend Danny Hillier says to love your neighbor is to not punch them in the throat.
It's
Go ahead and quote it and
it.
put it on a t-shirt.
Yes,
Yeah,
please
man. No,
send it to me.
I'm into it though. That's real. Uh Friends, like I think we can take that lesson and extrapolate it and apply it in a million micro ways throughout our everyday, right?
Hmm.
Uh, if love means not punching your neighbor in the throat, it probably also means not making that unnecessary comment at your upcoming
Hmm.
family gathering that you know is just going to be hurtful. And I know you think it's clever, friend. It is clever. Great, clever comment. Keep it go ahead and keep it inside. Go ahead. That's love.
That
That's
is love.
love. Maybe if that's the case, then maybe love is turning off the news channel that is feeding you hate.
Mm.
Maybe that's love. Maybe that's how you love the politicians that you struggle to love, and that are watching that news channel because you hate the politicians it's talking about so much. Maybe the way you love them is to not tune into the hate around them. Maybe don't punch your neighbor in the throat. Don't make that unnecessary comment. Don't maybe turn off the news or tune. Like I think my point is, Danny, your maybe love is just don't do harm. If that's actually a great starting point, that's not like an extreme that's a great starting point. Don't do harm. Okay, how else can you not do harm tomorrow? How else can you not do harm in the quick to anger response that I have to my kids who frustrate me about something? Okay, like that's a place where I can do less harm.
Hmm.
And if I'm backing myself out of harm, I'm gonna run into the embodiment of love eventually. And I actually think that's a beautiful instruction for anybody who's wondering how to love, how to embody love, especially when it sounds like something that a pastor would say at Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but what do you really mean? Like, that's it. Great advice, Danny. Don't punch your neighbor in the throat. Excellent.
Don't put your neighbor in the throat. That was one translation of Jesus's love thy neighbor, you know.
That's for
Uh,
the message.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the message trans
yeah, the
the
hardcore
newest
neighborhood
message.
message, the
Yeah,
newest. Yeah.
the newest edition of the message.
Uh-huh.
But and it is that because I these Hallmark movies and even on, your reels on Instagram and your media feed show us that like love is supposed to be like big and loud and extravagant and it becomes so overwhelming that you're like, well gosh, if I can't bake a whole pie from scratch for my neighbor, then I guess I can't love them. And it's like, actually, love is just these simple, tiny invitations every single day to um, excuse the person who's driving like a maniac through traffic, right? Like, don't flip them the bird. Don't put your foot on the gas pedal. Like, just let them be and just move on. Like, there are so many micro moments, like the comment at the grocery store, like when you're frustrated with the person who can't get their cart situated in the right position and they're in your way and disturbing your peace. It's like, maybe just keep that comment to yourself. Maybe don't say that thing out loud. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know where that person speeding through traffic is going. Like, we have all these microaggressions as human beings and in our post-pandemic culture at one another, when in reality the smallest invitation to love is just showing up and saying, I'm going to choose to not say harm right now, and I'm going to choose not to do harm right now. And that's as much love as I can give right now. But maybe if I keep doing these two things, maybe one day the love will grow and I can do these greater acts of service for my neighbor or the person on the street corner asking for some money or a meal. Or like, then once we can finally attune ourselves to these small acts of love, of doing no harm, then we can start acting out our love from this embodiment of love.
Danny, during that really beautiful monologue that you just shared, I had a thought that was related to a comment you said, but justice, like our sense of needing justice in every moment.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is Matt Matson's personal bugaboo sometimes, but I get caught up in justice. I'll be honest. That not I get caught up in other people needing justice. I'm the guy who's like, okay, like let's just move on. Let's move. I don't want. Mostly that's not me being benevolent or holy. That's me not wanting conflict. That's me just being like, you know, it's easier for everybody. Forgiven. Let's see you tomorrow. Like, forget it. And people, it drives people nuts in my life. Plenty of people that I've worked with or that I've encountered because they need justice. They need, like, when somebody does something bad, they need to correct them or to for that matter, make it right, or be, you know, maybe get vengeance or like just make it right, make it just. Friends, I'm not against justice, but I will say that our constant need for fairness and justice and making it right and correcting people and is not always fed by love. That's a good way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
That if justice is fed by love, I think it looks different than the way it normally manifests in our world.
Mm-hmm.
If justice is fed by fear or by vengeance or by hate or by anger or by a feeling of lack of love, and that's what's feeding justice, I think it looks like the way it shows up in our criminal justice system. I think it looks like getting even. It looks like getting back. And I just want to offer that, because some of those examples you offered, Danny, of like when somebody does something bad to you in traffic or is disturbing your peace in the grocery store in the way that they're moving their cart around in front of you, like you don't have to you don't have to be the the judge, right? Like you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
get justice right now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to embody love. Embodying love will look different than embodying justice as we've been taught, because I think the way we've been taught justice is fed very much by fear and fed very much by hate and fed very much by old ideas that I would offer a big point of the story of Jesus showing up. And for people who celebrate Christianity as a part of their own tradition, I think a big part of that is like, no, you are forgiven. Grace is boundless. There is an abundance of love and forgiveness, and grace is there already. And that's hard. That's hard to make sense of in the world where we've been taught the opposite. But embodying love maybe means confronting our own sense of micro injustices that are around us all the time, because those injustices are against us, me, and they're against self very often. Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but that's a
It does. And it makes me I always love to, like, conflict our own agenda here with the podcast. Is We're talking about love as an embodiment, right? And everything that you just said of kind of, yeah, you don't have to be that. You don't have to be on all the time. And I feel like we think we have to be on all the time. And
wow, yeah,
and sometimes justice seeking is being that non-confrontational, that non-anxious presence. And this is kind of counter of it. Sometimes being love is letting go, or sometimes being love is separating yourself. I had an into a friendship this year where it was like, I mean, I was ready to throat punch them. And the greatest way I could love them was to let them go and leave them be and let them live their life and wish them well. And it's like that. It's almost like it's a ritual of, you thank that person for entering your life. You thank that person for the joy. You thank that community for the community that they offered. You thank that job that you're retiring from for what it gave you. And then you love it and love yourself by letting it go. And that is also a physical embodiment of love.
Danny, I love how our conversations in these episodes are always so. You're right. They don't always make sense. They don't like they conflict. Uh, and there is truth in all of that, right? Like the layers of us trying to unpack big, heavy questions. I'll bet there, Danny. I'll bet there are a handful of people who tune in and are like, "What are you guys talking about? You're not giving me the answer." You,
They're taking notes like, is it something about
yeah,
a
right. Totally, totally. What happened to the Hallmark movie? Like, what is
yeah,
going on here? Yeah,
are we
and I,
talking about love? Like,
yeah,
where?
but to me, this is what sacred moments of human connection are all about. This is the point of between. This is what I want more. I want to invite more and more and more people around the world into conversations like this. And they don't have to be about faith. They don't have to include biblical scripture or stories or anecdotes. They absolutely do not need those things. The more we talk in ways that we're the more we start a conversation, we don't know where we're going to end in that conversation, the better off we will all be. The more
Hmm.
uncertain we are when we show up, the more confident we'll be when we leave. I just deeply believe that. And this to me is an example of that. I don't know what we've talked about. I don't know that we've said anything that made sense about love. And it's all
Hallmark
made
is so angry at us right now.
100%.
Sorry, Hallmark.
100%. This ain't this. We will not submit this as a potential screenplay for next season's Hallmark holiday movies. But it's this is it. This is the mystery is diving in together and trying to grab onto the slippery walls of truth. And I just appreciate it, Danny. Like this is what it's supposed to. If we're going to explore a concept called love, we better not come out with you know, some great, quote that everybody except don't throat punch your neighbor. That's
I need a t-shirt and a coffee mug.
this season of love betweeners who are listening to this. I really hope that you'll consider what embodying love means to you. And I hope you'll have that conversation with people around you. I think Danny and I would offer that that's a big point of the Christmas story. I think that's a big point of the Christmas story is that love shows up in human form, and we're invited to show up in love form, and that's not easy. And that's why we've been trying to figure it out for millennia. And that's why we come up with new metaphors and new stories and new legends and new myths about it, because it is a really hard thing to understand. But there's something deep down that drives us to try to understand this this everything that is around us and within us, this everything that we feel goes into history and lives forever, this thing that we're going to try to put a name on and maybe name it love today. um, Man, it's hard to understand, and it's even harder to embody, and we're invited to try. And it looks like conversations like this, Danny. Thanks for a nice one. This was a good one.
This was a good one. And my favorite lyrics of Mumford and Sons, I'll leave people with is the before you leave, you must know you are beloved. And I hope everyone can carry that this holiday season.
Thanks, Danny.